by none other than Brett Comer and Sherwood Brown from the 2013 Florida Gulf Coast team, better known as Dunk City. Welcome back to another edition of 68 Shining Moments here on the Field of 68 Media Network. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by two of the members of FGCU's Dunk City Cinderella team. I have Brett Comer and Sherwood Brown. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Appreciate you for having us.
What's up, man? How's it going?
So the first thing I ask every one of the guests on this show right off the bat is what it feels like to kind of be this March moment. What is it like knowing that every time you turn on an NCAA tournament, every single March, as long as March exists, you're going to see highlights of you guys making that run to the Sweet 16? Brett, why don't you start?
Obviously, it's cool to see and it's fun. Just kind of relive some of those moments of, with guys, we don't get to spend a lot of time together anymore with everybody kind of living life and going different places. So it's fun to be able to kind of see that, relive the moments, kind of remember some of the stories and the history to it. And obviously, just to kind of in the business that I'm in, all our players are always talking about it and laughing about it. So it's cool. And it's kind of great to see every March because it comes up, like you said, every March. So.
Sherwood?
Yeah, just like what Brett said, it's a great thing to know that we accomplished. What we accomplished, and every time during this time, it's like I can feel it. I feel the vibe, and I don't really get to see it that much because I'm not really in the U.S. that often. But my parents and family and friends always tell me they see commercials of us doing things from the tournament, and it just makes me feel real good.
How often does it come up as a topic of conversation when people find out who you are? They're like, oh, you played for Dunk City? Is that something that you hear a lot?
Yeah, I actually hear that pretty often. Some of the players that I come in contact with from playing abroad, they bring it up sometimes, tell me how they was watching it and was going crazy just like we was.
So let me ask you this. We'll rewind to when the bracket gets released. You guys draw Georgetown, storied program, number 2 seed, Big East champions. You had played a bunch of high majors that year. I don't think that you actually had pulled off any of the upsets. So what was your first thought, when you get Georgetown, you draw them, and that's who you see you got in the bracket, Brett?
Well, actually, the first game of the year, we played Miami at home with Shane Larkin, and we actually ended up beating them at home. So we kind of knew we had a special team. Actually, it really kind of goes the year before that. We were a 6 or 7 seed, played in the ASUN championship against Belmont. That's when Belmont was in ASUN. And we lost, and then our coaches actually made me, Sherwood, Bernard, and some of our guys stand out there and watch them dance and celebrate. And I remember, I think it was Sherwood and Bernard right next to me. I think I remember telling Sherwood this, we're not going to feel like this again next year. And then obviously, we go through the ASUN tournament. We were the 2 seed. We beat Mercer, and we get the bracket. And we felt good about Georgetown. We knew that their style of play, they wanted to slow it down a little bit more. With the Princeton offense they ran, we running all the backdoor stuff. With our matchup zone, they were just going to cut into another body. So we knew if we could push the tempo, we'd feel great about it. The only thing that was a little concerning to us, I think it was like the day before, after we got the bracket, kind of preparing for them, we watched personnel, and they showed the Otto Porter highlight film, the Big East Player of the Year, and we were sitting there like, okay, he's pretty good, kind of what he was made out to be. But we were ready, and we weren't scared of the moment. We all played at VCU that year, Duke, Miami, Iowa State. We weren't scared of anybody, so we felt good about it.
So you mentioned the pace that you wanted to play with, and at halftime, it was kind of an ugly game. I think it was 26-24. You guys were leading, but it was more of Georgetown's pace and Georgetown's style. So you go into that halftime locker room, you have a conversation. Like, what is that locker room like, Sherwood?
Honestly, we went into the locker room and we was winning. So the conversation was, just keep going, keep doing what we do. We knew that, in the second half, it's basically like 0-0. So with the score being that close. So we just continue to do what we do, apply the pressure. We had good defensive schemes. And then we just wanted to put points on the board.
Right. So I heard a story about you, Sherwood. I heard that you got into it a little bit with Otto Porter there. Was it at halftime? Can you tell that story?
I really don't remember exactly what had happened because, it was so long ago. But I remember beginning of the game, it was some player on their team who said something, and it caught my attention. So it was really from the beginning of the game, I had an extra chip on my shoulder because I would find anything to motivate me anyways. So from the beginning of the game, I had an extra chip on my shoulder, and I was like, well, these guys think they're going to push us around. It's not going to be that type of game.
I heard that's not that's not uncommon for you to find a way to get a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, man, it's not.
It's funny. I would say that was our team as a whole. I think that's kind of how we all felt. We all kind of felt undervalued in a way. The fact that, we appreciated our time at Florida Gulf Coast. Obviously, we loved being there, but we felt, we didn't get the respect we deserved as individual players that, we're at Florida Gulf Coast. Let's just call it what it is. Nobody knew what it was. A lot of us didn't know either before we went there. So I think we all kind of had a chip on our shoulder. And like Sherwood said, we were all ready to go. Because I think it was a warm-ups. They were chirping a lot.
Yeah.
We got really excited from that point too.
So I think the most famous play from your run is probably the lob to Chase Feeler at the end of the Georgetown game that put you guys up by 9. Brett, can you just kind of take me through that play, what you remember seeing, and how it kind of unfolded?
So it's funny. That's probably the most memorable play, but it's not the best one we had all year. Mm-hmm. We had another one where he was trailing. I just threw it over my head. He went and caught it on somebody. But with Chase, me and him always had a really good connection on the floor. Whenever a ball screen happened, he'd always be in a corner. He always knew when to cut. I always knew where he was on the floor for some reason. It was just kind of a weird connection we had. But I just remember that play. Georgetown tried to pressure, pick up the ball. I think Sherwood, you threw me the pass. They came to double you. And you threw it ahead to me. And all I remember is I'm going to the hole. I'm going to go shoot a layup. And I'm like, Otto Porter's trailing me. So I wasn't going to go shoot a layup. He's probably going to put my stuff against the glass. So all I see right over my shoulder, I see Chase running. And I'm just like, I know if I throw it up there in the right spot, with how athletic he is and his timing, he's going to go get it. So I just threw it up there. And obviously, the rest is kind of history. He went and got it and kind of gave us the momentum to kind of finish out the game, because I think they were cutting back into our lead a little bit right then at that point. We were up 20. It was down to maybe 6 or 8. So it's definitely one of the most memorable plays, the play we probably see the most on social media and just brought up all the time. So,
yeah,
let me tell you this, though. I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me tell you, these dudes used to do this all the time, too. It wasn't like this is the first time you've seen an alley-oop from Brett to Chase. Like, we've seen this all the time in practice. We've seen this all the time in, lower games that don't really get, that much recognition. But then when y'all seen it on the national stage, it was just crazy.
Well, I think that's part of what made you guys so endearing, right? Like, I think not only were you the perfect Cinderella to make a run, like a 15 seed making it to the Sweet 16, that's never happened before. You also were this team that came out and was dunking on everybody, throwing lobs on everybody, right as Twitter and Vine and Instagram and YouTube and all of these like social video channels were kind of popping up. So it's like, not only are you these Cinderella darlings, but you're doing it by dunking on everyone, which is not necessarily what people expect when it comes to kind of these underdogs, right? Like, we expect the big schools to be doing that to the small teams, not the small teams to be doing that to the big teams. So I think that's kind of what everybody connected with. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. And, I think a lot of it too is kind of the way we practice. I mean, we would run drills, just practice throwing lobs every day. And then we just played so much in practice. We had a really good feel for where everybody was on the floor. And kind of, I think commentator said it during the game. And, we were a very confident group. All of us grew up playing with high-level guys, playing high-level events on high-level teams. And we weren't scared of anybody. And we just kind of played our way. Coach Enfield really gave us a confidence about ourselves. He's a little cocky himself, and that kind of rubbed off on us and kind of who we were and the style we wanted to play. He wanted to get up and down and push the ball, and that's kind of what we did. And just call what it is, we had enough athletes, and I was willing to find them to get those dunks and throw those lobs. So
before we get back into that interview, I just have to let you guys know that, yes, it is that time of year again, folks. Conference tournaments are tipping off. Bubble teams are making their final push for a bid, while the best teams in the country are gearing up for a deep run in March. Auto bids will be punched. Slippers will be fit. And our partners at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, are putting my listeners at the center of the action. If you bet $4 on an underdog in a select game this week, and that underdog wins, you win $256. Yes, that's right, $256. Here's how it works. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code FIELD68 when you sign up. Scroll through the list of the select underdogs, bet $4 on one of them to win, and cash $256 when they do. There is no better way for you to put your college hoops knowledge to use than to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. You can deposit and you can withdraw your funds at your convenience. Trust me, I know, I use them. So remember, that's code FIELD68. That's FIELD68 to turn $4 into $256. It ain't going to get better than that, folks. For a limited time only, you must be 21 years or older. Restrictions apply. Go to DraftKings.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So take me through the moments after that game ends. Like, what do you remember from the locker room afterwards? What do you remember from the bus ride home? Like, what was when you finally pulled it off? When you finally said, "Okay, we are a 15 seed and we just beat number 2 seed Georgetown." Like, what do you remember from there, Sherwood?
I just remember, we going to the locker room. Obviously, everybody going crazy, throwing water and stuff. And then Coach Enfield says, we're gonna go to the hotel. We're gonna get some rest. We're gonna come back and win again tomorrow. And that just stuck with me right there because I was like, "You're right. We are gonna win tomorrow too." It's not just a one game thing.
How hard was that? I don't think people understand the difficulty in celebrating this victory and then knowing that, okay, in 48 hours, you got to go and do the whole thing all over again, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy enough, I don't feel like that one was as hard, the second one. I feel like the Florida game was harder because the amount of time in between and the amount of media and coverage we were getting. But the San Diego State one, it was too quick of a turnaround to kind of even breathe or think. It was just kind of, all right, let's just go get the next one. And like Sherwood said, when Coach Enfield comes in the locker room and says, I just go back and prep, we're going to go play in the Sweet 16, we had no doubt in our minds that that's what we were going to do.
I also feel like that San Diego State game, people kind of forget about it, right? Like it's kind of the story of you guys is the win over the Georgetown and then what you became in that time between the second round and the Sweet 16. But no one really talks about the fact that you went out there and you beat up on a San Diego State team that's a really good program. Beat up on them too. Yeah,
they were a good team. Obviously, I thought Jamal Franklin was probably the best player we probably played that whole tournament run and year. I thought he was really good. But we just kind of played our style of play and just pushed the ball down the floor, our matchup zone and our 3-quarter press. And, we were able to just get stops and get out and run. I think that was the biggest thing because that game was close too, if I remember right, Wood. And we just were able to get stops and push the ball, and it kind of changed momentum again. Same time in the second half, I think, as the Georgetown game. So,
yeah, we really opened it up in the second half.
All right, give me your favorite memory from that first weekend, both of you. Sherwood, why don't you start?
You talking about the weekend after we had won advanced to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, that first weekend of the tournament when you won those 2 games. What's your favorite memory, the defining memory for you from that weekend?
My favorite memory was I'm not gonna lie. I think my favorite memory the whole time was just riding on the chartered planes, just being able to, riding on the chartered planes with just us on the team on there. I think the cheerleaders was on a plane too, and it was just only us and no other people. I think that was my favorite. Brett,
how about you?
It kind of goes with what Sherwood said. I think I wouldn't say that maybe there's necessarily a favorite moment. I think just the whole experience as a whole. We're a team that we bust most places we played. We're able to get on a charter. We'd win games, and Coach Enfield had a weird obsession with Five Guys, so that was our post-game meal. So to get these nice meals at hotels, obviously, just spending time with the guys that we really cared about each other. We really cared about the school name more than the name on the back of our jersey, and kind of just living those moments together and just spending time on something we kind of built. It's not like it was a team that just made a tournament run. It's a school we all kind of built together too, and a program we kind of built in a way. So I felt like that whole thing was really cool. The other thing was after we beat Georgetown, I think we got on our team bus, and they took us to get some cheesesteaks in Philly, which was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah,
we went to Geno's or Pat's. I'm not sure which one we went to. We went to one of them. Got there and got some cheesesteaks, and it kind of showed kind of what we did with all the people around just surrounding us and wanted to be kind of just a part of our run. So I think the whole thing as a whole was really cool.
So you guys went from being a number 15 seed at a school that a lot of people had never heard of before to quite literally the biggest story in America for that entire next week. I think were you on the Today Show and Good Morning America? I mean, everybody was talking about it. You basically went from nothing to being TMZ, living that TMZ life in the blink of an eye. So what was that next week like? Was it a blur? Was it overwhelming? Were you able to actually get anything done? Like, what was that like?
I know for me personally, I think Brett too, I think I could speak for him too. It was a bit overwhelming, especially going on the campus. Like, we were trying to go to class and stuff, and then we was getting rushed by like literally anybody to try to take photos, get autographs. We had to actually get the campus police to escort us to class so that we could make it.
So you still had to go to class in between the games?
Yeah, they was making us go to class still, man.
Yeah,
you got to study still.
Yeah, it was interesting. We'd show up to class and our professor would be like, "Why are you here?" in a way. And then like Sherwood said, it got so crazy that I think it was me, you, Bernard, and Eric. We went to get lunch on campus, and it's right by the bookstore. And it got to the point where we got mobbed by people. Like, it was nonstop. People just kept on showing up. Like Sherwood said, we had to get a police escort to classes, back to practice. Like, that whole week it was overwhelming, but at the same time, something that I know from our SID wanted to do was kind of capitalize on it. Like you said, no one knew what Florida Gulf Coast was. No one knew kind of who we were in a way. So let's capitalize on it, and kind of brand the school and kind of make something out of the situation.
Give me the wildest story that you remember from that time, between the end of the end of the second round and the start of the Sweet 16. Like, was there, did you have any celebrities reach out to you? What was the maybe the biggest name you heard from? People tweeting about you?
Crazy. I mean, I wouldn't think that anything too crazy happened that week. Obviously the social media of celebrities reaching out was high. Like, Lil Wayne was tweeting about us. Plies is from Fort Myers. He was reaching out, messaging all of us. Like, obviously, like, my good friend Austin Rivers was reaching out, texting about it, watching the game, posting he's watching the game. Like, it was really cool to kind of seeing the people surrounding us and kind of wanting us to keep on going. But I wouldn't say that week was anything crazy out of the normal happened, just because of the fact we were so locked in on trying to go win that game in Dallas against Florida. So that's just, at least for me, Sherwood. I know you may have stories.
It's the same, man. It's pretty much the same. Like, I just seen everything that was going on, and I just wanted more of the feeling. So, obviously getting some more wins would add to that. So I was really just focused on trying to get another win. Just another win.
I think the other thing, though, which we didn't hit on, which was another good moment kind of after that San Diego State game. Before media, we got pulled into like a back kind of private room at the Sixers facility. It was me, Sherwood, Bernard, Coach Enfield. I think our AD, Ken Kavanaugh, was back there. And we're kind of just waiting. And Andy Enfield, with this goofy grin, looks at us, goes, "Who would have thought I'd be going to a Sweet 16 with you three?" And just starts dying laughing. We're all just back there laughing and having a great time. So I think that's one of the moments I remember the most too, that we didn't kind of hit on. So
yeah, because I've been to those media sessions at the NCAA tournament, and it's always funny how you have all the players come onto the stage, but they come out of these like curtains, right? And I've never known what people do on the other side of those curtains. So they just kind of have you in a little staging area.
There was a little staging area. I think it was by their training room. They had like whirlpools back then. We were just standing there kind of,
waiting
at an all-time high. Like, we're going to Sweet 16. We didn't realize how great it was maybe at the time. We knew it was cool, but I don't think we really realized we were the first 15 seed to do it. We were just like ready to play. We're just playing.
Right. I'm always interested in this too. Obviously you never want to end on a loss, right? And at the end of the day, like you go to the Sweet 16, you get knocked out by Florida, and that's not how you wanted your season to end. So when you look back on it now, was there disappointment in there? Was it were you happy with the accomplishment that you had? Like, it's always a weird balance for me where it's like, okay, you guys did this incredible thing, but you also didn't accomplish like the ultimate goal for why you play this sport and why you compete in that tournament. So how does that, did it take you a while to come to grips and understand, like, we just look at what we did? Were you, how does that work?
I think it was a mix of the two. Obviously, we were disappointed. We wanted to keep playing, keep winning. We thought we had a good enough team to knock off Florida and keep going. But I remember it was like a minute left in the game. The game was pretty much over. It was my last game playing with Sherwood. I think I dapped them up at half court. You know, we were proud of what we did. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, we wanted to win, but we were proud. You know, we did something that nobody's done before. And I remember we were walking after the game. We were going to media. It was me, you, and Chase. And there's a picture. I think it's on my Instagram. We're walking down the hallway with arms around each other, just like proud of what we did for each other and proud to be able to send Sherwood and our other senior Eddie Murray out the right way, and kind of just we were proud of what we accomplished. Kind of we're at an all-time high, to be honest with you. Yeah, I know it sucks to lose. No one wants to lose, but at the same time, no one thought we'd even win a game in the tournament. So,
Sherwood.
Yeah, man, I agree with what Brett said. It's kind of mixed feelings. You know, especially after a loss. I mean, I still think about that game sometimes. I feel like, you know, I'm sure Brett do too. Like, we could have won that game, but at the end of the day, you know, fatigue does play a huge factor in the game. That's kind of the first time I ever really noticed like the difference between, you know, high major and kind of mid-major programs as far as like weight training, because those guys was like really big and strong. Yeah. And they didn't think about that with any other team we played against.
Wasn't Patrick Young on that team?
Yeah, Patrick Young.
They had a whole bunch of dudes, and sadly, to this day, I still hear about it because one of our assistants here was on staff on that Florida team, so he cracks jokes all the time about how they beat us. But like Sherwood said, though, the difference was really shown in that game, just the way their bodies were and just kind of the size, and they kind of matched our athleticism. And you know, that's kind of what we were able to win off of, was our speed and athleticism. They were able to match it. So, yeah.
All right. So this is the last thing I got for you guys. And I don't even know if you guys know this. Do you know where the nickname Dunk City originated? Do you know who started that?
I don't know who was the first person to say that, actually.
I don't either. I have no clue. And everybody comes up with, somebody on ESPN. It was somebody here. I have no clue.
So I take the credit for it, but it was actually my roommate at the time. So we were running a website called Ballin' as a Habit, and the tweet still exists. And at 8:25 p.m. on March 22nd, I'm looking at it right now, he tweeted from our official account then, apparently FGCU is located in Dunk City, Florida. And that's the first time, you go back and you look all the way through Twitter, that's the first time that Dunk City was referenced. So I take credit for it because I take credit for everything that he does. That's just how I operate. I'm a real team player, but yeah, we started that thing back then and it kind of took off. So
man, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great nickname that obviously still sticks with our team, still sticks with the university. So whoever came up with that you guys did a hell of a job.
It was fitting because like that was right when it was the Lob City Clippers, right? With like Chris Paul, Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. So it was the perfect coming together of everything, of basketball, of nicknames, of social media. And it was a lot of fun to watch. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to be a part of it too.
Yep.
Well, listen, guys, I appreciate the time. Thank you for doing this. I'm glad that we were able to connect. And as soon as we get it up and get it on the website and get it on YouTube, I will make sure I get you guys a link for everything.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.